Hey friends, Pastor Kurt here with this week's sermon preview video. Actually, there's two things I want to do with you in this video. The first is to preview worship, which is the most important thing. And second is I want to share with you my reactions to what's been going on at General Conference and give you some pastoral leadership in the midst of that. Want to let you know that I've talked to several of the leaders in the church, and we've agreed that following 10:30 worship, so about 11:30 or so, because it's not appropriate to do this in worship, I'm going to share this same information with anyone who wants to stay, or if you're a 9:15 person, come back, and then open the floor for questions. Now, this won't be a time to convince people whether you think homosexuality is all right or whether you think homosexuality is not all right. That's not what I mean. What I want to do is let you react, let you ask any questions that you have about what General Conference did this week, about this decision or any of the other decisions that you may have seen. So want to let you know about 11:30, we're going to do that. Okay, on to this week's video. First, what's most important is the worship of God and the mission and ministry of Sharonville United Methodist Church. This week, we're going to end our sermon series, the 5 weeks of telling the stories from messages from the wilderness. We're going to look at one of my favorite stories, and I mean it this time. I know I say that a lot, but I go back to this story again and again and again. It's helped me through so many things about Elijah's travel or journey to Mount Oreb. It's really a roadmap on how we can get through our wilderness and how to interact with God in the midst of that. There's a report in here from the rummage sale for missions. There's talking about the graduation Sunday. There's talk about how the youth are going out on mission this week. There's talking about Vacation Bible School. You can sign up now for Vacation Bible School, both to attend and to serve. That's what's most important. So I hope to see you this week in worship. We're also having communion to celebrate and remember Jesus as we invite the Holy Spirit to be among us. Okay, on to General Conference. As you know, General Conference is our highest body. They are the only body that's allowed to speak officially on behalf of the United Methodist Church. And I believe that this General Conference is going to go down in history, along with the 1784, 1968, and others, as some of the most profound decisions in the history of the Methodist movement in America. There were 3 huge decisions made over the course of the last 2 weeks. You've heard about one. Let me tell you briefly about the other 2. Regionalization is a fundamental shift in the way we are governing ourselves as the United Methodist Church. It's no longer the U.S. Church and everywhere else. It's the whole globe together as one United Methodist Church. Secondly, is the revision of our social principles. Since the beginning of the United Methodist Church, we've had a section in the Book of Discipline that states our beliefs on a wide range of social issues. That some of that language hadn't been rewritten since the early 70s. And over the course of the last 10 years, they've taken an opportunity to rewrite those and update that language. And that was passed by General Conference as well. Now on to the one that you're waiting to hear about. And that's the decisions, not just one, but multiple decisions around homosexuality in the church. The 2 big ones is it has removed the prohibition for homosexual people to use the Book of Discipline language, or LGBTQ, the modern language, from serving, being ordained as pastors in the United Methodist Church. The second is the removal of the penalties for performing a LGBTQ or homosexual wedding in a United Methodist Church. Prior to that, couldn't be ordained, couldn't have a wedding. Now those provisions, those prohibitions have been removed. And I know there's some of you among you that welcome this decision, and that there's some of you that vehemently disagree with it. I've always striven to be the best pastor I could be, not just at Sharonville, but throughout my ministry over the course of all the churches I've served. And whether or not I agree with you on a particular theological or practical issue, I've always wanted to be your pastor. I love you, and I want you to be a deeper disciple of Jesus Christ, and I want to help strengthen your faith. So I want to speak to both groups the best I can in the midst of this video and in the midst of the letter that you can read. Before I do that, let me say this, and this is probably my strongest belief. I don't believe any church anywhere at any time will agree on all practical and theological issues. What we can agree on is that together, we are all striving to be the best disciples we can be for Jesus Christ by banding together to work through those membership promises. I believe deeply in the membership promises of the United Methodist Church by our prayers, our presence, our gifts, our service, and our witness. And then in all those things, we can make a true difference in the world. I don't believe the decisions of the General Conference over the past 2 weeks or over the last 50 years changes that even a little, prevents that from happening. Now, let me address those of you who think this was a good decision, who agree with the decision. You've waited for this decision for a long time. I know some of you have waited years, if not decades. And I know that you want to celebrate, and I encourage that. This is a momentous occasion. This is a major shift in our church. And if you want to celebrate, I encourage that. But let me offer this caveat, this caution. There are people in your church who worship with you every week who don't agree. They believe that this was not a good decision. Here's my invitation. Offer them the most grace possible. That's a hard issue. And good Christians who are working just as hard as you are to follow Jesus and build their faith believe that this was the wrong decision. We want to be a community of faith that can worship together even when we disagree on really hard issues like this. Therefore, please offer the firm handshake of fellowship on Sunday and every Sunday after to those who are still struggling with this decision, and respect them as you celebrate. Now, let me address those of you who disagree with this decision. There's too much counsel that I can give you in one short video, even though it feels long, or one letter. So here's my invitation. I know this is going to cause some of you to think about leaving the United Methodist Church in general and Sharonville United Methodist Church in particular. Before you do that, come talk to me. Call me, email me, set an appointment, come and talk. I know you're hurting. I know you have grief. And I want to receive that. I want to hear that. I want to talk through that with you. And perhaps, maybe, in the midst of that discussion, we can find a way forward together. As I shared above, and these are almost the exact same words, let me offer caution to you as well. There are people who worship with you that disagree that this was a bad decision. Please offer them as much grace as possible. This is a hard issue, and good Christians who are working just as hard as you are to follow Jesus and build their faith believe that this is a wonderful decision that should have happened a long time ago. We want to be a community of faith that can worship together when we disagree on hard issues such as this. Therefore, when you come to church Sunday and every Sunday from now on, please offer the firm hand of friendship and fellowship to those who are celebrating this decision, and respect them as you struggle. For both groups, for all of us, I want to share this. I believe this more than anything I believe about these issues. We need each other. Those who agree and those who disagree with this decision need each other. We are stronger together. We are a better church together. We are more faithful together. I think we are more genuine to God's call in our lives together. A couple of clarifications about the decisions. First, this is a removal of restrictions, not a requirement. In our system, the local church and the pastor are still in partnership to control what happens in our buildings. And our leadership has the right to say to the bishop, no, I don't think we're ready for an LGBTQ pastor at this time, or yes, we think we are ready for that kind of pastor at this time. Your elected leadership, in partnership with Pastor Clara, will need to decide as we head into the future what will and will not happen at Sharonville United Methodist Church. General Conference can't tell you that. Secondly, this actually returns us to the stance of the church prior to 1972. Prior to that General Conference, there was no such restrictions in place since our founding in 1784. And finally, I want to reassure you that the General Conference took the opportunity, they didn't have to, took the opportunity to strongly reaffirm that we expect our pastors and lay people to attain to the highest level of moral standards and holiness in their lives. Now, you may disagree that homosexuality is a high moral standard, but General Conference has decided that it is. And they reaffirmed that all of the other rules of high morality and holiness are still in place and will remain so, including celibacy and singleness and faithfulness in marriage. Friends, this video is already far too long. So just one more proclamation to you as strongly as I can put it. I believe, as much as I believe anything else, that as long as we can agree to love and accept people, including those we disagree with, into our fellowship, I believe we can disagree on items such as this and still be faithful and still worship God together. It will not change the way we worship, the way we fellowship, the way we make disciples of Jesus Christ. It may actually make us look more welcoming to those folks out there that are non and nominally churched. Therefore, I invite you to commit to journeying through this time together as Sharonville United Methodist Church, who are called to make a difference in the world by connecting, growing, and serving God and one another. Peace and blessings to you. I love you all. I hope to see you in church on Sunday. God bless you.